welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Anna. This is where I talk about the books that I read. And today I'm back with another recommendations video. Today I will be recommending books that remind me of The Substance, or that you might enjoy if you enjoyed The Substance. I have this little pin that they gave to us at the cinema. I saw the film last weekend, I think, yeah. And I very much enjoyed it. It was so good. So I was very inspired to do this video because I feel like I have a few books that really kind of feel like The Substance or feel similar to the film. And yeah, I'm happy to be sharing them with you today. If you are a fan of weird girl fiction, if you like a little bit of horror, if you like disgusting things, if you enjoy transgressive fiction, definitely stay and see if you can get some inspiration for your reading list. Starting out with what I feel like is a very quintessential weird girl fiction book, or in this case maybe weird woman fiction book, Night Bitch by Rachel Yoder. This is one of my favorite reads ever. I love this book. There is a film coming out and I'm kind of nervous because I like this book so much, but I will definitely, watch it just to see what it's about. So Night Bitch is about a woman who is a mother and her husband is away a lot and she takes care of her toddler mostly by herself. And she's just wondering, okay, is this what I expected my life to be? Do I maybe want something different? And she's getting rather frustrated with her current life, I would say. And she has a very special coping mechanism that she develops. Maybe you can already tell by the cover, but this woman is in fact turning into a dog. I feel like Night Bitch is similar to The Substance in terms of we are following a female protagonist that is kind of taking a critical look at her life and realizing that maybe it didn't turn out the way that she wanted it to turn out. And in order to kind of deal with this, she undergoes a physical transformation. As I've said, this is very much weird girl fiction, weird woman fiction. There is no actual body horror in this, I would say, but there are definitely a few disturbing passages, so maybe check some trigger warnings, but I feel like if you know what weird girl fiction is all about, you are kind of prepared already. What I also found quite similar to The Substance is the sarcastic humor that is being used in this book, which I really enjoyed. And that felt quite similar to the Substance film. Maybe now is a good time to pick this up before the film with Amy Adams comes out, but also just in general, it's always a good time to read Night Bitch. Next up, I would say another classic, iconic book when it comes to weird girl fiction, Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. We love Eliza Clark on this channel. Very much looking forward to her new book, which is going to be a short story collection, and I'm so excited. But yeah, let's talk about Boy Parts. So in Boy Parts, we follow Irina, who's a photographer, and she takes explicit pictures of boys and young men, and she usually finds them in the street and just approaches them and asks them if they want to be in her pictures. And she then gets offered an exhibition, which I would say is kind of the peak of the narrative, and en route to this peak she kind of descends into madness and things escalate quite heavily. So why did I pick this for my Substance video? Irina is a photographer, and in the film The Substance, Elizabeth Sparkle and Sue are on television, they are in Hollywood. So I feel like both works are very much about perception and performance. And I feel like In both, the camera plays a huge part, a very significant role, and is kind of this invitation for the audience or for the reader to be voyeuristic in these moments. Of course, when we think about perception, being filmed, being photographed, we are always thinking about the gaze through which we are seeing these pictures or the television program. And I feel like both works, The Substance and Boy Parts, kind of deconstruct the male gaze. In this case, Irina is a female photographer photographing men in very explicit situations, which automatically turns it into a female gaze, I would say, but still her photographs are often bought by gay men, which then brings this element of the male gaze back into it. And in The Substance, the male gaze is very exaggerated, and since The Substance is directed by a woman, I feel like this is a form of satire. She's being very ironic with this kind of gaze, and I have to say, I know it's a horror film, I know there are so many disturbing scenes in that film, but the scenes where the male gaze is being exaggerated, when they are filming Sue, for example, such a hard watch for me. I couldn't cope. I had to look away a few times because it was so, I can't say the word on YouTube, I think, but it was giving very much adult film. As I've said before, Boy Parts very much escalates during the narrative, and Irina is drinking a lot, she's taking a lot of drugs, and I feel like this very much captures the essence that also The Substance portrays. This escalation, not induced, but definitely enhanced by certain substances. Oh my god. Next up, a book that is very close to The Substance in terms of story, and a book that I immediately thought of when I was watching the film. Rouge by Mona Awad. In Rouge, the main character, Belle, is obsessed with skincare. She watches all these skincare videos every day on a loop. And yeah, she's quite frankly obsessed. Then her mother dies, Noelle, her mother, dies mysteriously, and Belle has to go to California and sort out her estate, which mainly includes debt, a lot of debt, and a rotting house that Belle has now to take care of. But those things are not the only things that she inherits. She also takes over a very special kind of spa membership. So as I've said, the stories are very similar. In both, the protagonist is obsessed with outward appearances, especially with looking younger, and both protagonists are willing to go the distance. And by going the distance, I mean rely on some very sketchy sources, and also maybe realizing that the price might be too high. Also, and this is just a funny add-on, I would say, similar to The Substance that has Demi Moore in it, this book also features a very iconic 90s film star. And to find out what I mean, you really have to read the book. This is the perfect read for spooky season. This is a read for people who really enjoy their retinol, who have a 10-step skincare routine and can take a joke. And also if you're into cults, if you like films like Eyes Wide Shut, if you like the film Death Becomes Her, which is one of my all-time favorite films, you will definitely like this. Next up, let's get a little bit more disgusting. I'm talking about Lapvona by Otessa Moschweg. This is not really similar to The Substance whatsoever, but I wanted to include a book that is as disgusting as some of the scenes in The Substance, because I feel like I haven't seen a film that disgusting in quite some time. And I don't mean this in a negative way. This book especially reminded me of The Substance because of all the food scenes that are in the film and that are very disgusting. Again, I'm not even talking about the horror sequences, but people are eating in this film, and the way they eat is very much not nice to look at. And this type of eating can also be found in Lapvona. I feel like this is a book that is so difficult to summarize. I would say it's a family story set in a medieval village, and it deals with religion, witchcraft, rich versus poor. We have a huge cast of characters, including shepherds, a priest, a witch, a bailiff, and so many other people. And all of these characters are trying to survive a drought, which then leads to famine in this village. But yeah, difficult to summarize, you just have to read it for yourself, I guess. Don't read this if you're squeamish. As I've said, it's very disgusting. I had to put it down several times throughout. But yeah, if you like a little bit of, you know, nasty stuff, this might be the book for you. I have to say, I had a great time reading this. And similar to The Substance, it's just super entertaining. Finally, and I feel like this is the peak of the video when it comes to disturbing reads. I don't have my physical copy because I lent it to a friend, but I will be talking about J.G. Ballard's Crash. Okay, stay with me because here's my logic why I included this book. Not just because I love it, but because The Substance is maybe not inspired by, but definitely makes reference to a lot of David Cronenberg films, and David Cronenberg also adapted Crash in the 90s. So I thought, why not? It kind of feels like a full circle, you know, to include this book. So the story of Crash is set in London in the 1970s, and it's about this group that gets sexually aroused by looking or being in car crashes. Our protagonist is in a car crash, and the man in the other car dies, but his wife, who's also in the car, survives, and the protagonist becomes kind of obsessed with the wife. And this is also kind of the starting point of him being introduced to this group of people that is led by this character named Vaughn, who's a very good antagonist, I have to say. And you could definitely call him the charismatic leader of the group. Why is it also similar to The Substance? First of all, I would say Crash is definitely not for everyone, and that's not me being I'm different, I'm not like other girls. No, it's definitely not for everyone. And so is The Substance. I feel like when we went to the cinema, you could definitely tell that there were a lot of people who just didn't get the film, or not necessarily not get it, but the film just wasn't for them. Again, The Substance and Crash deal with body modification. Crash is considered science fiction, but it's very much set in the current world, which I quite enjoy. And similar to Boy Parts, again, we have this voyeuristic element to the story. Again, it's about performance and perception. Vaughn and his group, they take pictures of car crashes, they stage certain car crashes and take pictures or film of that. Again, as I've said, it's not for everyone. This is not just weird girl fiction. This is very much transgressive fiction. It's very depraved, kind of perverse. I hope I can say these words on YouTube, but yeah, maybe you're intrigued. I obviously highly recommend this book, but just, you know, be aware that it's a lot. All right, there we have it. These are the books that you should read if you enjoyed watching The Substance. And if you haven't watched The Substance yet, maybe this video also inspires you to go to the cinema and watch it. As always, thank you so much for watching these videos. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and let me know in the comments whether you've watched The Substance or whether you've read any of these books and what did you think about them. And I will be seeing you in the next one. Bye!